Share my screen, and I take it that you see my screen. Okay, so just to recap what we did yesterday in Marketing Cloud, we set out a plan to create a journey, and the journey was going to be powered by an automation. So we had data in one data extension, and then we used a query to pull that data from data extension A into data extension B, and then data extension B was used as our journey entry source. And all of this was running on a scheduled automation to go find people who meet a requirement, pull them into data extension B, push them into a journey, and once in the journey, people go down whichever path we've specified based on our requirement. So that's what we did yesterday. And then we talked a bit about version control. What happens when you make a change from one version of a journey to another? What you need to do once you've made that change, and what to expect once that change is in place. So that was a use case of journeys and automations when your data is coming from a data source that's, let's say, so let me open up my data extension folder. So the use case we created yesterday, where we got data from this data extension and pulled it into this one using a query. That's a typical use case for creating journeys and automations. So if we used, let's say this was Walmart. Walmart uses Marketing Cloud, and on a daily basis, all of their existing customer data sits in this data extension. And they want to run an automation where they're going to find all customers who are eligible for promotions, or all customers in the US, from their master data extension that contains all customers. That query goes to find them from here, pulls them into this journey data extension, and then they get put into this journey, and people who, I don't know, let's say people who have spent over $500 in the last 3 weeks go down this path. People who haven't go down this other path. That's sort of a use case scenario for something like that. So Walmart's data in, let's say, this data extension is coming into this data extension, which is there. Let's say this is where all of their customer data sits. This could be getting refreshed, let's say, once a day. There might be another automation, a separate automation that's pulling in data from a data lake or some of their internal systems into their master data extension, this one. And then they have this automation that's powering this journey. So you can have multiple automations running, and you can achieve all of this inside of Marketing Cloud. So I say this to you guys because this is something, regardless of if you're going down the consulting route or you're on the client side, your company has Marketing Cloud and you're going to be the one who manages the platform. These are things that one should know and should practice and fully understand, because these are just table stakes. These are just simple things that if you claim to know Marketing Cloud, if you claim to have worked with it, these are things you should know. All right. So that was that use case. So if, let's say, I did have new data come into this data extension today. Let's say I had a file drop automation I was running and updating this data extension. So let's say that number became 500. when these new records enter this data extension, they'll show up here. And the next time my automation that's powering this journey runs, which is, oh, it's already stopped. But let's say it was still running. Let's go pull it up and take a look. So let's say my automation was not paused. So it should be here. So let's say this was still running. So it's paused now because I said I wanted to run 10 times. But let's say this was still running. When it runs, it will find all those new records in here and pull them into this journey data extension, and those new records will get pulled into this journey. And when they arrive in the journey, they're not going to go into version 1. They're not going to go into version 3. They will go into version 2 because that's the version that's active and running. All right? This one is finishing version 1. So people in version 1 are going to go through version 1 and exit, and no new person will go into version 1. But version 2, that's where all new records who are eligible to enter the journey will get pushed into it. Right? Just want to make sure we fully understand that bit. So, okay, I'll come back to that. So for today, we're going to look at a different use case. So yesterday's use case was directly to a data extension as our starting source. For today, we're going to use the CRM, so Salesforce data, as our starting source. So we're going to have, look, somebody's journey is running and it's got 15 entries. Good for them. So let's say we wanted to create a new journey and we wanted to use Salesforce data. So one of these objects as that's the object that's going to generate records into our journey. So let's say new leads get captured from our website, and then we want to nurture those leads. Nurture meaning we want to groom them and get them closer towards making a purchase or whatever your call to action is. If it's for a consumer services or fast-moving good company, you want them to purchase your product. If it's for a services company, you want them to book an appointment, purchase a service. If it's for a not-for-profit, you want them to make a donation, become a member, whatever it is, whatever goal your organization serves, you can get people towards taking that action via journeys. So for today, we're going to create a new journey. We'll start from our folder. So how come there's nothing in my folder? I see that my journey is not in my folder. Okay. So how do we... It's fine. Yes, Robert.
You can only, once you have it saved in an organized folder, you can only drag and drop it now. So you have to create a folder and then you have to drag and drop it. It's really annoying.
So what Robert is saying is I can just drag.
Exactly. Yeah.
There.
That's exactly it.
Because I did not. You can only move it before
when you save.
Yeah.
Every time you save, it pops up in green and says organize, and that's the only time you can save it.
Right. Makes sense. Thank you. So let's go ahead and start from here, my folder, to create our new journey. Hopefully it stays in the folder. I'm not sure why the last one didn't. But let's create a journey for today. So I've mentioned whenever you're looking to create a journey, you should have a plan. So what is my plan for this journey? Well, my plan is to use my Salesforce CRM as the starting source or as the entry source. And I want every new lead that gets created to get sent into this journey and for them to receive an email. And I also want the lead owner to be assigned a task. That's the point of my journey. That's the plan. All right. I already have this plan in my head. Now I am going to build it out. All right. So before you build your journey, have a plan. Just some sort of idea of what you're hoping to accomplish. So what am I trying to accomplish with this journey? Well, whenever new leads come into my CRM, I want to acknowledge them by sending them an email and also assign a task to the lead owner to either follow up or do something. All right. That's just a simple use case for this. So let's keep our naming conventions similar. So this will be the October 11th journey. Let's just differentiate it by selecting SLC starting source. And we'll put a description here. What did I use yesterday? Something for illustration purposes. Let's go find that text. Yeah, there it is. Sample journey for illustration purposes. So we'll put that here. Sample journey for demonstration purposes. That's good enough. All right. And we will save as we go. Folks, don't forget to save as you go. All right. You don't want to lose your work. So as I mentioned, the starting source I'm going to use will be Salesforce data. And from here, I can select what object I want to use for my journey, right? If an organization has, what is it called? I think it's Community Cloud or Experience Cloud. They keep changing the names. They can trigger people into a journey from that cloud. If an organization uses campaigns, when people get added into a campaign in the CRM, where's the campaigns tab? When people get added into the campaigns object in the CRM, they can get triggered into a journey. And if these two are not what you're looking to use as your starting source or your entry source, then you can come to this third one to select the object you want to use. All right. And folks, I'm able to see these options because our Marketing Cloud account is integrated with the CRM. Right? You won't see these options if it's not integrated with the CRM. So I think that goes without saying, but just to clarify. So from here, see, it says you can choose a Sales or Service Cloud object for your entry event source. And you cannot edit this selection after the source is created. So if you make a mistake, let's say you start with leads, and then you change your mind and say, oh, no, I don't want to use leads anymore. I want to use contacts. You can't change this selection. You have to delete this journey and go start a fresh one and make your selection again. Why is it that way? You'll have to contact Salesforce, the company. So let's go ahead and select the lead object. So you see here, you can see all these objects from your CRM. So if you had a custom object, you can also select it. But for today's purposes, we're going to use the lead object. All right. So we've selected the lead object. Now we need to select some key fields on the lead object, starting with our lead ID. And I think I've emphasized this point enough. You know why, or you should by now know why we're selecting the lead ID. If anyone doesn't know why, let me know, and I'm happy to go over that point one more time. But we're going to select the lead ID first of all, because I think it usually requires you to select some unique identifier at this point. All right, so these are the options for your unique identifier. We're going to go with lead ID, and then we'll go next. So as you see here, it's a guided process. So you select your object, select your unique identifying field, and then your entry criteria, all of that. So we're going to go through each of those steps. So next, this is where you specify the entry criteria. Do you want records to enter the journey when a new lead is created? If that's what your goal is, then you check this box. Or do you want records to enter the journey when a lead is updated? If that's part of the why of your journey, then you select this checkbox. Or if you want leads to enter either when they're created or updated, you can select both. You don't have to select one or the other. You can select both checkboxes. All right? So whatever your event criteria, you just have to specify it. All right, so I'm going with both. So now I can select what fields. So here it says attributes. That's marketing cloud terminology for fields. In the CRM, we call them fields. In here, we call them attributes. Same difference. Okay. So at the minimum, or just for simplicity, I've selected my lead ID. Next, I think I should go with email address. You can either scroll or you could search for the field you're looking for. So let's see, let's search. Email address for sure. Email opt-out. We can also select that. It's not. Or you can, what we're configuring here is our entry criteria. So this is where you specify what you want to be looking out for. So what I want to look out for is email address for simplicity. I'll use the same criteria that we used yesterday. Email address contains at gmail.com. I can create multiple journeys and use different criteria. So, but for simplicity, I'll use this. Email address contains, or I can start with this. I can say email address is not null. How about that? That's what I'll use for now. So email address is not null. That's my entry criteria. So whenever any new lead is created or updated, as long as their email address is not empty, I want them to come into this journey. All right? There's no point bringing in people who don't have email addresses. How do I communicate with them? So filter criteria, if you wanted to do additional filtering before people come into the journey, you can do that here. So if you wanted to find only leads who's associated with something, say an account or contact or something else, you can specify selecting these criteria. But for simplicity, I'll keep the filter criteria empty. So we'll go next. Now the entry data, this is where I can bring in fields from my lead object. Fields that contain data that I might want to use or that I need to use in my journey. All right. So at the minimum, these are the required fields that will get added by the system. So it's going to bring in the email address, the opt-out field, and the lead ID. Those will always get pulled in. Now, let's see. It'll be useful to have the first name, just in case I want to do some personalization. So see, I'm searching for first name, and it shows me the first name from different objects or from different sections of different objects. The one I want is the lead's first name, right? See, now that field gets added. Let's see, what other field do we capture on the lead object? Yes, Robert. Okay.
For the purpose of when we update a lead in Sales Cloud, that it updates the journey, where exactly is that? Is that in the entry data, or is that in whatever fields you capture? Because you set this as a create or update, where does the update part come in? Like what update step makes this update?
Yeah, so it depends on what you specify here. So for now, I've only said email is not null. So if I create a lead, now we're getting a bit ahead of ourselves, but let's say I create a new lead in the CRM, and then 2 minutes later, or you know what, I create that new lead and I don't put an email address. It's just a lead, a name, first name, last name, no email address. And then 2 minutes later, I go edit that lead and put an email address. What I've done meets this criteria here, which is the lead is updated and the email is not null. By so doing, that lead that I updated will get pulled into this journey because the email address field is no longer empty. So
it's the entry criteria that does based on what field you put there. So like, for instance, if I have put on there, I think there's a thing in lead called hot, cold, or warm. I forgot what it's called. If I put that in there, the status, yeah. So if I put that in there and that updated, then that would trigger. Okay, got it.
Exactement.
Thank you.
So yeah, no problem. Let's see. Not sure what these are, questions or just project question. I'll come to that later on, just so we stay on track. Okay, these were just okay. Ogochukwu has a question about the lead object ID. All right, so let me quickly address that. So if we go back to yesterday's journey, our data for that journey came from this data extension. Yeah, these are the only fields we have: first name and email address. So we created this data extension, which was the one we used for our journey, and we brought those fields in here. We selected the email address as our unique identifier, our primary key. Yes? And that's what we selected here. Email address relates to subscribers on subscriber key. So for these 5 records, their unique identifier that we've used to send them an email is the email address. Because we've done that, if we go to the all subscribers list and we search for those 5 records, what we'll see is we'll see those 5 records and their subscriber key will be email address. All right? However, so we've sent those guys emails. No, let's get this to load. I'll tell you the why behind. I think you guys already know it, but just for emphasis, why is this taking so long? So let's go pull up one of those 5 records. For example, let's find Robert in the all subscribers list. All right, this is our all subscribers list. If we search for Robert's record here, what we expect to see is a record with the email address as the subscriber key. See it right there? That's the subscriber key. So now that we've integrated our CRM with our Marketing Cloud account, if we create Robert in here using that same email address, winter@rogers.com, if we create Robert here as a lead or a contact, when we create Robert as a lead or contact in the CRM, he's going to have a unique identifier like this one here in the browser. That's the lead ID or a similar thing for a contact ID. All right. So when we do that, if we bring in Robert's record that we've created as a new contact in this CRM, if we bring that record into Marketing Cloud and we send an email to that record, it's going to create a new contact in the all subscribers list. And we will now have two Roberts, one with the Wynter's email address subscriber key, and a second one with the contact ID subscriber key, thereby leading to us having duplicate records for the same person. All right. So when you do that, the consequences are multiple. One consequence is you have two records for the same person, and your engagement data is going to be inaccurate because you've got two records for the same Robert. Which one of those records are you going to check to see all of your engagement? That's one consequence. The other consequence is, depending on what you've paid for with your Marketing Cloud account, if you exceed your contacts limit, Salesforce, the company, will charge you extra for exceeding your limit because now you have, let's say you purchase 10,000 contacts as your limit in the Marketing Cloud. When you exceed that limit, Salesforce, the company, will charge you for exceeding it. This topic I will address when we talk about, so I'm going to talk about Contact Builder. That's where we get into the details of everything I just said for the last 5 minutes. All right? But that's the answer to Ogochukwu's question. We'll get into it later on, but for now, let's truck ahead and complete this journey. And I will create Robert as a new lead using that same email address just to demonstrate what I've explained to you guys. All right, let's keep going. So this is our entry criteria for the journey. Whenever any new lead record is created or updated, and the email address is not empty, we want them to get pulled into this journey. That's our entry requirement. All right, so we go next. If you wanted to add additional filters, you could do it here. If you want to bring in additional fields, you can do it here. So we're already getting these fields. What else do we need, or might we need? Sure, we could bring in the company name. Company. All right, we want the company name field from the CRM, and that gets added there. All right, so here's a summary of what we've just done following this guided process. So we want our entry source to be the lead object, and our unique identifier, entry source lead object, unique identifier is the lead ID. All right. The action that we're listening for, or the action that we've asked Marketing Cloud through the integration to the CRM to listen for, is whenever any new lead record is created or updated, That's action number one. And then the other thing we're asking it to check for is that the email address is not empty. So the description here is slightly different. It doesn't say empty. It doesn't say is not null, but it's saying was set. So it means an email address was set up on that lead record during the creation process or when it was updated. All right. And these are the fields that we want brought in from the CRM into the data extension that's going to get created as a result of this entry source selection. Okay, so just to expand on that point that I just made, the last point, we selected the lead object as our entry source for this journey. If we had selected the account object or any other object in the CRM, regardless of what object you select, a data extension will get created automatically by the system, by Marketing Cloud. All right, that data extension will show up. Sometimes it shows up here in the main data extensions folder. Most times it shows up here. Some other times it might show up here in the synchronized data extension, all right? But most times it shows up here. So we're going to come back here to check for a newly created data extension by the system once we've set this up, all right? So right now, just take a mental note. There are 29 records in this folder, in the main data extensions folder. So 29 records. When we come back, our new data extension should be there and should make this count become 30. Okay. So we'll go done. All right. So see here, this is the entry event, and the icon, as you see, shows the cloud with a database. That's essentially saying your entry source is the CRM, and these are the details on the object inside of this data extension that will get created. So that will be the name of the data extension. So it's going to take on the name of our journey, which is this. And it's going to pull in this information from the lead object and be listening for this information from the CRM. Okay? Don't forget to save. All right? Let's step out and just step back in to make sure this is saving correctly. Actually, why is this not going away? I'm going to refresh this. I don't want this window just staying there permanently. All right, so this is our journey for today. We selected the Salesforce data and the lead object as our entry source. Okay, now let's go ahead and continue to configure our journey. So I want people to come in, and I'm going to put I'll keep it simple. I'm not even going to check for anything. I'm just going to have people come in, and once they come in, they're going to get sent an email. There's no need for me checking for anything else. As soon as you come in, you're getting an email. So let's go find an email. I will randomly select one of the emails that you folks have created. Hopefully the email works. And when you're doing this, either for your organization, so the company you work for, or for your client, make sure you have a plan. Make sure you've tested the email before you build your journey. Make sure you've done all of your groundwork. All right? But let's go, let's go find an email that works, just so we don't run into problems. I am going to browse through. Why is this taking so long? So I'm going to browse through the emails you good folks have created in Content Builder, and then I'll select one. All right. Help us understand first name, feedback email. What is this? It is an email. That's good. We miss you, all right? Okay, I see this person is doing a few things. Well done, Neka. I'm going to make a copy of your email. And then I will save this copy in my folder. Let's see again, the fall 2023 folder. So let's call it our October 11th email. Okay. Good stuff. All right, let's go take a look at this email. Let's preview it against. Oh, it doesn't include tracking code. So folks, this is why you need to test your emails before you go live, before you do anything serious. So it's telling me that this email does not include tracking code to track opens. Meaning if we send this email out as is, we will not get any reporting information on opens once this email goes out. So we won't be able to tell who opened it or did not. The result we'll get will just be 0 opens. So how do we fix that issue? Well, I'm glad you asked. It's a simple fix. You simply go anywhere in the body of the HTML, so like here, and you come to this icon here that says Insert Code Snippet, and you find the Track Email Opens snippet. You click on it, and it generates this line 8 here. Generates that. And this right here, this line, is what is inside of the body of every email sent out of Marketing Cloud and enables the tracking to work. The absence of this equals the absence of tracking on your emails. All right, that's why the system alerted us towards that bit. So now I'm going to save this email and preview it. So quick one about previewing emails. Whenever you're previewing an email, the system automatically, when you get to this point, it automatically selects the last data extension you previewed against. All right, I'll say that again. The system automatically selects the last data extension you previewed an email against. So if you don't want to preview against this data extension, you can click on that folder icon and go select a different data extension. So let's say I wanted to use somebody else's data extension. Let's see. Nika created this email, so let's go find a data extension from her folder. So see that? Now I'm previewing the email against a data extension from somewhere else, and seems to be working. All right, so all the personalization is showing up in the email. So that's good. One more thing, you can do a test to yourself. You can actually do this test send just to make sure. But so far, I think the email looks fine. Let's just test this URL and see where it takes us. Okay, that's good enough for me. No need to do a test send. I'll just save this and use it as is. Thank you, Neka, for donating your email to us for this exercise. All right, so moving on, let's select the email we want to use. So I'll go click on my folder, and you see there, that's the email we just previewed. So I'll select that, I can go through my configuration here. Do I want it sent on behalf of this sender profile? Sure. Or I can find another one. So I was going to create a sender profile. I don't want the student. I don't want sales operations. All right, sure. Just for the sake of time, I'll use the sales operations. But I will create another sender profile just to give us some variety when I'm doing these demonstrations. So that's fine. I want this sender profile. My delivery options, I don't have anybody to suppress. I don't have to set up any delivery window. And if you wanted to associate this email with a campaign, this is where you can do that. And when I say campaign in Marketing Cloud, I mean the Marketing Cloud campaigns, not the CRM campaigns. So moving on, is there anything we need to change here? No, this is all fine. Excuse me. So I'm happy with the email. I'm happy with all my configuration. So I'll say done. All right. Now I'm going to change this to 2 minutes. There's always a waiting period at the end of all your journeys. You can't create a journey without one. It just shows up automatically. Okay. All right. What else do I need to do? I need to set up my journey entry settings. So, given the plan that I have for this journey, I want people to re-enter at any time. I'm not going to go with the no re-entry. All right. I'll go with the re-entry at any time, which means people can re-enter the journey at any time. All right. Or we could go with the re-entry only after exiting. The difference is with this one, people will only enter the journey after they have completed the journey. Whereas with this one, it means somebody can go through the journey multiple times at the same time. So you can get the same email multiple times. You're going through the journey at the same time. But this prevents that. This only allows you to go through the journey once you've completed it. So you know what? I'll go with the third one. Okay, so far so good. I'm happy with my journey. What else do I need to do? I need to make sure I have saved, and then I will validate. Let's make sure there are no questions. All right, next step is to validate. So now the system will check my journey in its entirety and see if there are any things I need to fix. Based on this result, there's nothing to be fixed. So I can proceed to activate. You'll notice in this one, there's no option to test your journey. Right? There's no option to test your journey, and that's because of our entry source. Our entry source is from the CRM, so we can't do an on-screen test for this one. But if we were using a regular data extension as our entry source, then we'll be able to do the on-screen test. We'll see that button here. All right? So just before I activate, let's go check the data extensions folder to see if my new data extension has showed up. So you see here at the bottom, now it's saying 1 to 25 or 30 items. And see right there, that is the data extension that got automatically created by the system because I've configured this correctly and set it up properly. All right, so you don't need to create a data extension manually when you're using Salesforce data as your entry source. That's the point I want to get across to you guys. the system will create that data extension for you when you're using Salesforce data as your entry source. All right. So that data extension has been created automatically. It takes on the name of my journey, which is October 11 journey SFTC. That's what we have here. And then it pulls in all those fields that I requested. So it pulls in the email, all those fields that I requested, they show up here. And you see here, you see what it's selected automatically? It selected the lead ID automatically by itself because that's what the system does. It selected the lead ID as our unique identifier. All right? So just keep that in mind. And you'll notice here, the lead ID is not nullable, meaning it is a required field. So if you leave this box unchecked, it means that field is required. Whereas all the other fields are nullable, means they can be ignored. But the lead ID field is not to be ignored. All right? So let's go ahead and activate this journey. Yes, that's a good summary. No goal, that's fine. I don't need a goal. So we have clicked on activate, and we should see the confirmation in a few seconds. Okay, so our journey is now active, and the system, so Marketing Cloud, is listening for the criteria that we've set here. Any lead that gets created or updated and has an email address should get pulled into this journey. That's what it's listening for. So that's what will happen whenever those or any of those requirements are met from the CRM. So folks, this here is the only or one of the only instances where data flows into Marketing Cloud in real time. All right? So whenever that criteria is met here, the records that meet that criteria will get pulled into Marketing Cloud in real time into this journey. So let's go ahead and demonstrate that to you. So the data flow from the CRM to Journey Builder happens in real time for records that meet that criteria, okay? Whereas the data flow between Marketing Cloud and the CRM, where we're bringing in these objects, happens every 15 minutes, all right? These CRM objects get refreshed from the CRM every 15 minutes. But whenever we're using Journey Builder and Salesforce data as our entry source, the data flows in real time, okay? We'll talk more about that in Contact Builder. So let's go ahead and create some records to meet this criteria. So right now, see, that's our journey. There are 0 entries. Nobody has met that requirement, so there's nobody inside of that journey. So I said I was going to use Robert as my first record, just to explain the point I was going on about earlier. So we'll use this email address. We'll create a new lead. Create a new lead record. Yes, new lead. First name, Robert. Robert Wynter. Why is it spelled with a Y, not an I? Durham College. That was a rhetorical question. You don't need to answer that. So that's the email address. Make sure there are no spaces. And we will say education. What are the fields that I make required? Let's see. Let's just go back and check. So where's my date extension? So you see here, this is showing 0. But once I click on save here, it'll change to 1. Well, let's see what fields. So company, first name, email. So I've got company, got first name, I've got email. All right. This looks good to me. And oh, by the way, yeah, no other field is required here, so I'm going to save that. Okay. So now I've created this new lead. Yes? Robert, I'll get to you in a minute. If we just step back and step back in, see that? From 0 to 1. See that? And if we just go into the journey, what we expect to see is this change from 0 to 1. This is a bit slow. All right, let's refresh it. Still not showing up. It's taking its time. Ideally, it should change from 0 to 1, and we should see that 1 record show up inside of the journey, because we do see it inside of the date extension for the journey. So let's just refresh again. Yes, email address is not blank. Created or updated. Let's just make sure we don't have. All right, it was just taking its time. See that? 1 entry. So now that new lead has come into the journey because it met the criteria we set. And our criteria was created or updated, and email address is not blank. So that record has come in, it's received this email, and now it's in the waiting period of 2 minutes. After the 2 minutes wait period is exhausted, it will exit the journey and can enter the journey again if we make any changes to it, because that's the requirement we've set. So let's address Robert's question. Come on, Jim.
Hi. I wanted to know, you said you were going to test another one where it was no email and then added one. I just wanted to see that in action as well.
Absolutely. Now, let's go ahead and do that. So I'll create a lead. Let's call it Quentin. And let's see, who does Quentin work for? He works for Raymond James. And he's in the investments industry or finance. Right. It's not investments, we go with finance. And we're not going to put an email address, right? So we'll save it. What are the fields required? First name, last name. Yeah. So let's say let's just give Quentin, no phone number, that's fine. So we'll save this record. So you see, we created a lead. We didn't provide an email address. Yes? Let's go to the details section. That's where we see the information. So see, the email address field is empty. the requirement we set for our journey was whenever any new lead is created or updated, we want you to bring them in. But the other thing we want you to check for is to see if an email address is contained in the email address field. So you make sure that the email address field is not blank before you bring these people in. All right. So based on that criteria, we still have only one record. Quentin is not going to get added into this journey because he only meets one of our two requirements. The second requirement is for the email address to not be blank. So if we come back here, this is still 0, right? I mean, this is still 1, not 0. But if we make a change to Quentin's email address field, suddenly he meets the other requirement and he will get added into the data extension and subsequently into the journey. Okay, that was Robert's question. So let's make that happen. So this record exists, no email address. Let's go ahead and add the email address. I'm going to add mine, DevOps 2, not 2. Now let me just make sure, before I add this, let's make sure this email address doesn't already exist. Yeah, discard the changes. I'm not adding that yet. Okay, so this email address doesn't exist in the CRM. That's good. So I can use it. So let's go back. So see here, our journey still shows one entry. Yes, and I'm going to refresh this just so you see the before and after. So this is still 1, and this is still 1. All right. So now we're going to update Quentin's record to include an email address. And we're going to make sure there's no spaces in this email address. And we're going to save it. All right. So now this record has been updated. And because of this update, this record now meets the 2 criteria that we set in the journey, which is the record is created or updated and the email address field is not empty. So what we expect to see is this number change from 1 to 2. And voila, Quentin's record gets pulled in because he met the other criteria. So if we come here, it's a bit slow to show up here, but it will show up. Because you see it here, showed up. It will show up here in a few seconds. And I will get that email and we'll be able to check for that email in here. So, all right, see, that changed from 1 to 2 entries. All right, so I should have received that email since I am now Quentin, and now Quentin and Robert are in the waiting period. So let's go take a look. So see here, that's the email that came in. Let's go take a look at the email. So it says, we miss you, comma. The first name did not get pulled in. And does anyone know why? So does anyone know why the personalization for the first name for Quentin did not get pulled into the email that I received? So that's a different topic, but just to, I'll come back to that question, but just to make sure we understand what just happened. This record previously did not meet the entry criteria, but when we updated it, it met the entry criteria and was entered into the journey, and the email was sent to this record. That's why I have this email in my inbox. Okay? So now, back to my question. Does anyone know why the email does not contain "we miss you, comma, Quentin"? Why doesn't it contain the first name in the subject line and here? And I don't want Robert or Ogochukwu to answer that question. So I want the newer folks to answer the question. Come on, folks, are you sleeping? Just give it a try. Why do you think the first name was not pulled in for this record? All right, nobody wants to attempt it. Okay, I'll put you out of your misery. The reason why Quentin's first name was not pulled into the body of the email or the subject line where it should have shown up is because in the email, this is the field we're looking for. This is the name of the field we're looking for. First space name. Whereas in our journey data extension, the name of the field is lead column first, no space name. So what the email is looking for does not match with what's in our data extension, thereby leading to us getting this email message without the personalization. So folks, at some point, since you've had an email address, you will have received an email like this from the different brands that you get emails from, because this is a common mistake. The personalization string in the body of the email does not match with the data that's being provided for the email sent. That's what leads to mistakes like this. And this is not a NECA mistake, by the way. This is a Abby mistake. I made this mistake. All right, so nothing to do with NECA. Okay. She created a great email. I'm just using it. And this is why we say always test your content before you go live, so you can avoid stuff like this. All right. So, no, the first name is not missing in the record, Remy. So see here, this is the record. We entered the first name when we created it. And see, the record got pulled in here, and look at it. That's the first name field, and it is populated. So it's not missing. That's not the case. That is sometimes the case, but not in this situation. It's not absent. So, Robert, yes, go ahead.
What if in the alt subscriber list, if you have the lead attribute, what is it called? The profile attribute tied to first name, last name in, is it called the profile? You know, where you create first name, last name, and you link it to contacts and leads?
Yeah.
I always forget where it is.
Yeah, I think
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if that was linked, would that override? Because it is first name, last name, and it would be linked?
It should be linked. We set this up when we.
Yeah, but remember you had to reconnect it. You did set it up. I saw when you did it, but that was with the first connection.
Oh.
Right, and then you had to reconnect it again.
When I reconnected it, it wasn't a reconnection from scratch. It was just I just had to fix something.
So if we looked in now in the first name, would it have the lead attribute connected to it?
It should. So let's take a look. Yeah, see, it is connected.
So I'm surprised that it didn't, because it's using the same ID from Salesforce,
right,
that it didn't pull this in the first name. That's interesting.
for some reason. Anyways, so let's not dwell on the first name. That's it's a detail, but minor detail. What matters is our journey worked. We set up our journey. We used the Salesforce data as our entry source, and the records that met that criteria got pulled in. Okay. If you want to see another example of this, let's take a look at some of the other leads. So, for example, let's pick on David. David's record already exists. If we make an update to David's record, let's say we take out this email address and we save it. Yeah, that's one update we've made to David's record. Will David's record get pulled in? Let's go take a look. Oh, not here. David's record has not gotten pulled in yet, right? And it will not get pulled in because the email address field is blank. But if we take that email address field, excuse me, and put it back in there and save it, now we expect David's record to get pulled in because it meets the criteria that we've set, which is lead record is created or updated, email address field is not blank. So let's go take a look. Voila. Guess who got pulled in? Good old David. And as you already know, David is going to show up here in a few seconds. Not sure why he's taking so long. He probably missed his way, not using a GPS to get here, trying to use old school maps. And there he is. He found his way. And now David's in there. All right. So that's your criteria from the CRM getting pulled into Marketing Cloud. So, so a few comments in here. Risika is saying, so checking and confirming the field name matches it, what should be done? Yes, that's what you should do when you're testing your email content before you launch your journey, before you activate your journey. So EGLS question, yes, it should be this. So yes, this bit highlighted. That's what you should use. And when you use this in the body of your email, it will pull in the first name from the lead record. All right. Okay, so I see two hands. Let's go. And we'll start with Ijoma, and then Robert, you could come after. All right, Ijoma, please go ahead.
Okay, so just like we have David's record, right? What if from the lead, the email is taken off? In the journey builder, the record goes off?
Can you rephrase that question?
Now we have 3 records in the journey builder, right? Because of David's record. If now we go into the lead and then you take off this email, what happens to the record that is already added in the journey?
Well, he's already in the journey. He's going to go through the journey, whatever the duration of the journey is. He's going to go through the journey and complete it. So this update we just made here, where we took out his email address does not make him meet our criteria to enter the journey again. Because criteria number one is the record created or updated? Yes, he met that criteria. But the second criteria is there an email address in the email field? David does not meet that second criteria at this point. So he's not going to get pulled into the journey. All right, but his record, the one that got pulled in initially, so the third record here, is already in the journey and is going to go through. Yeah, they're going to complete the journey regardless of what has happened in the CRM.
Okay.
All right. So because we deleted his email here does not mean he's suddenly going to disappear or not receive the email message in this journey. He's already in the journey. He's going to complete the journey regardless. Robert, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you. That was a good question because my question is similar. Now, what if you had ratings in there and the person changed the ratings and ratings is part of your criteria, or you put now that you've deleted David's email, you put a completely different email in there between the ratings, if you had ratings in your criteria, and then or you put a different email in David's, would that now update in the journey?
So let me address the email change bit first. David's email address changes. Let's say initially it was this, and now it's David Blackforce +1. So that's the change. It's now this. Yeah. What will happen? Well, let's find out. So let's say this is David's new email address. We'll save this and we will go take a look. What happens when that happens? Okay, so David, the same David, but different email address gets pulled in. And you see here, the lead ID does not change. All right, so it's still the same record. See here, this does not change. Same record, but different email address. And he's going to get pulled into the journey and get the same email. And he's getting pulled into the journey because in our journey settings, we've said they can re-enter only after exiting. So he came in the first time and he exited within 2 minutes. And now he qualifies again and he re-enters the journey. But it's still the same record. It's just a different email address. So it's still the same person, same unique identifier, same SIN number, so to speak, but different address. All right? So he still meets the criteria to go into the journey. That's why he got pulled in. And then your other question was about ratings. How are you capturing your ratings? Perhaps you could give us some more.
You know, in your criteria, you've got email null. If you also
it's not null.
It's not null, yes, sorry. If you also added an additional criteria that rating is not null, rating is not null.
So this here.
Yes.
Okay.
If that's not null, every time you change it, if you change it from cold to hot to whatever, would the data extension also change it from cold to hot to warm?
Well, what we expect to see is similar to what we have here. What changed within David's record was the email address. So if the rating was what we were checking for, let's say David came in the first time with no rating. The rating field will be empty, but he qualifies the second time. He comes in the second entry, it will show the warm rating or the hot rating or the cold rating. So you will get the record coming in. You have two entries, or you have multiple entries of the same record along with what changed. So in this case, what changed was his email address. That's why that's the only thing different between these two lines. So line 3 and 4.
So it just makes a new record.
It just adds a new record. But the key thing is the unique identifier stays the same. So if we keep changing David's email address, we put +1 plus, we do it 10 times. We do it up till +10. We'll have 10 entries for David with all those +1, +2, +3 email addresses, but the unique identifier will stay the same because it's the same guy, it's just a new email address.
So we couldn't use it for, let's say we had a field on there that said attendance on leads, and the attendance first off was registered, and then second was attended. And then you wanted to send an email to them after their first email to say, thank you for attending, or sorry, we missed you because it still said registered. That wouldn't work, right? Because the person is going to get the first email again. Well, because we've changed that from a hot to cold, or sorry, from attended to registered.
What you could do in that case, what you could do, so you've created a journey so here's the scenario. Let me know if I get it wrong. Robert's created a journey to capture people who are supposed to register and attend an event. Let's say it's a webinar. So yes, when they register, we capture their information on some field here that says registered.
Yes.
When they do, they come into the journey, they get email number 1, and then they exit. The event comes around, some people attend, some people do not. And then we capture the attenders' information for all those who did attend. And then they enter the journey again. To prevent those guys who attended from getting that first email, what you'll need before that first email will be a decision split, where you check to see, did this person register? Yes. Did they attend? Yes. Then you send them down one path where they get your attendance email so that they don't get that thank you for registering email. That's one way to do it.
Okay. That makes sense. Perfect.
Yeah. Okay, so we've seen how we can set up a requirement in a journey, and when that requirement is met in the CRM, people get triggered into the journey. All right, so that's how you can use your CRM for or as an entry source for a journey. Yes, Michael.
Yeah, good evening, Abby and everyone.
Yeah.
So sorry, I was thinking, Abby and Robert would continue what I wanted to ask as he was kept probing. That same use case where we changed email addresses because of the subscriber key, right? So the prior email address is still in there. But what if this was a genuine mistake and we needed to correct a client's email address and we don't want to keep sending to the original email address because it's not valid, it's not correct, even though it's a valid email address, but it's not the user's email address. It was typo.
It was a typo.
What do we do?
Okay. So your question, is it for Robert's record or for one of these other?
For David's record.
For David's record. Okay.
The +1 is now the correct email address. The one without the +1 is not David's email address. That's Abby's email address typed in incorrectly for David.
Okay. Okay.
And we don't want.
So
somebody's going to be receiving that email, and we don't want that.
Well, that first email address without the +1 has already come through into this journey, and the message will be sent to that email address.
Correct.
Right? We can't do anything about that except we pause or stop this journey. That's how we can stop that from happening. But the updated email address, the one with the +1, is what future emails will be sent to. All right? So when we made this change from David without the +1 to the David with the +1, David with the +1 came into the journey. He was the fourth entrant, and he will get this message at his correct email address, the +1. And if in the future we want to send, let's say we create another list of people. So let's say I want to create a list of all leads to send another email address, say a one-time email send. All right, these are all my lead records.
Yep.
See here, where is David? This is David. Where is his email address? It's the +1. That is his email address. So that's been updated by the system.
Oh, okay. So, So this is the lead data coming from CRM, right?
Exactement.
Oh, okay. So you are saying that Marketing Cloud is smart enough, because don't forget your journey setting says re-enter anytime. Or after exiting, sorry. So I was thinking the one without the +1 exits and he can re-enter anytime. But you are saying that when he's re-entering, CRM is able to send the updated email address. And that's what Marketing Cloud is going to use.
Exactly.
That's very good. And good for you to Abby, right? Marketing Cloud.
So that's why you pay a premium for Marketing Cloud.
Thank you, Abby.
No problem. So yes, the system is smart enough to update the records, but this update here, so the update to these objects, as I mentioned, happens every 15 minutes. All right, so that data flow between the CRM and Marketing Cloud via the synchronized data extension, it gets updated every 15 minutes. All right, it's not in real time, it's close to real time.
Okay.
So,
So follow-up question, Abby. The use case, I'm trying to look at the use case for this journey setting, re-enter after exiting.
Yes.
So it's like, without knowing the use case, it's like you come in, you get something, let's say we send you an email, hey, there's this offer, blah, blah, blah. You come in again and you exit. And when you exit, do you come back in immediately without any user intervention? Is that what that journey setting means, as in re-enter after exiting? You just re-enter again?
So let me try and remember the use case we have used this setting. None is coming to mind now, but this is relevant. Let's see. If, let's say you were running a promotion and the promotion was going to run for 3 months.
Okay.
And you're using Journey Builder to deploy information to those entrants. Let's see, will this even work? Yeah, I'm drawing a blank on an example of where this could be used. But it really depends on the purpose. So it starts again with the why your journey is being created. If people meet the criteria where you want them to come in only after they've exited, then that's when you select this.
Yeah. I'm just like you have. I've also been thinking about it, because it might make sense to say that every now and then we are changing the email, but I feel like that's not viable. So like offer 1 runs for 1 week, offer 2 runs for the next week, but I'd rather build different journeys for that, right? Just for simplicity.
Right.
So I'm also now wondering, why else would I want people to exit? And then how do I know there's a criteria for them to get in, But what will be the time interval between after you exit and when you get in? Do I even have control over that? And that's why for me it's becoming kind of messy. That why would I even want to use that?
You do have control over that time interval. That's what this here allows you to. So you can set this wait period to be as long as you want or as you need. So you do have control.
And then you can, before that time expires, you can come and do whatever you want to do.
Right. So you do have control.
So just as a wild guess here, I can literally come back and change that October 11 and put another email in there, right?
Yeah, you just need to create a new version.
Yep. Or do a new, do a new version. Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Yeah, makes sense. No, thank you.
No problem. Risikat, yes, please go ahead.
Okay. Hi. Yeah, I was just going to add to the question, just make a comment on the question that Michael just asked. I think I came across a use case because I was curious to what does it mean, re-entry and just entering, like you don't have control. But it says the use case was on abandoned carts, that somebody has abandoned their cart and then, they get a notification, and they move through the process and it goes, and then they abandon another cart. It doesn't mean because that user ID or did I say user ID? Maybe the contact ID or the lead ID has gone through that process that you can still come back again based on the new, meeting the new criteria again. So they come back again. Otherwise, if you say no re-entry, if they have gone the first time and they abandon another cart on that same journey, they cannot re-enter. They do not get a reminder for the second carts that they have abandoned. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yes, I can picture that working very well for an abandoned cart scenario. So yeah, it does make sense to me. But folks, if you didn't get it, let me know. I can try and put some skin on that idea that Risikat just shared. Robert, perhaps you want to contribute to that.
Yes, I do. I have a setting where students can register for an appointment. I don't want them to register for multiples. I want them to register once they've done their appointment, then they can come and register for another appointment. So I have it set to exit afterwards, and it sets it up so that, yes, you've got your appointment done. Okay, then you're exiting out. And so now they can register. And we put in information when they register the first time that they cannot register for any additional until they've actually done their appointment.
Thank you very much. That one also makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Okay, Ijema wants to follow up.
I guess we're all trying to bring up something, right? Before Risikat came up, I was thinking about this abandoned cart and re-entry. So I was thinking if this works or if you can talk about it. Now I put one item in my abandoned cart, right? And I'm on a journey. I'm on the third level where you're sending me an email, and then the next level is exit if I don't take action.
Yes.
Now, what if I now put another item in that same cart? How is that journey going to go? So is it going to be that the second item that I added will not go through that journey until I exit the first journey? Or how does it start again with a new item in the journey? I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. So day one, you went to the company website, you added one item in the cart, but you didn't check out. And then because you didn't check out, you met our requirements to get added into this journey. You go through the journey, but let's say the journey spans 10 days. It's day 6. And then you go to our website again, you pick a second item and you add it to your cart.
Mm-hmm.
Are you going to get pulled into the journey again on day 6?
Based on the second item, yeah.
Right. So well, first of all, I don't know. I don't do enough online shopping to know if when you go back to our website, you'll still see that cart with that one item. Let's say that works. Let's say that happens. It probably does. In Journey Builder, will you get pulled into the journey again on day 6 with your second item? If we've selected this third option of for you to only re-enter after you've exited, you will not get pulled in until after day 10. So even though you added your second item on day 6, you're still in the journey. You haven't exited yet. You're going to exit on day 10. So you will not get added until you've gone through the whole 10 days. Then you meet our criteria again, and then you get pulled in on day 11 into the journey, and we'll display the 2 items to you this time around.
Okay, so that's where this re-entry only after exit can come in. Okay, I get it.
Yeah. All right. Good discussion. Okay, so this use of Salesforce data source as your Salesforce data as your entry source, the way we've done it here with the lead object, same thing applies with the contact object. Same thing will happen. So your contact ID is what will get pulled in this field. So instead of lead ID, what will get pulled is the contact ID and any other fields you pull in. So it'll work the same way. And if you're using a custom object as your entry source, so a custom object from the CRM, you will also be able to select that custom object. If for some reason your organization, you purchase the CRM, you don't like the lead object, you don't like the contact object, you've created a custom object as you've customized it to meet your needs, and you've put all the user records on that custom object, the name, the email, the first name, all that jazz. All that is on your custom object. You can also use that as your entry source. You just need to select it once you've selected Salesforce data. All right. And you can also use person account. So it's not limited to just contacts and leads. You can also use person accounts. Person accounts, I think you should know since you've gone through the CRM training. It's like a combination of contacts and accounts. It's just some hybrid. All right. So that covers that. Let's say I wanted to create a new version of this journey and just add something else, add another component. And that component I wanted to add is where the owner of our lead record gets assigned a task. Yes? So let's do that. So I want, when people go through this journey, after they get to this point, I want a task, or after the email, I want a task assigned to the lead owner. So that's the change I want to make. So to do that, I'll go new version. So version 1 is still running. Version 2 is in draft mode. Now I can make my changes to the flow or to the structure of my journey. So how do I go and assign a task? Now, all of these objects or all of these elements here, you can use on the journey. If you wanted to convert the lead to an account or to a contact, you can do that using this. But just for simplicity, this is what I want to do. I want to put a task, and I want, what is my task going to be? Let's create a new task and assign it. So you can assign a task to a person or a group of people. All right. I want to assign to, I want it to the owner. want to assign to user, not. So, what are the users I have in here? B or large. All right. Let's see, that's the user I want to assign it to. Hey, what's going on with this? Let's see. Let's go take a look at this. Who is the record owner? One of the options. Okay, so I only have two users in here. It's either this or this. Okay, let's assign it to the integration user. All right, let's assign the task to the integration user. There we go. Okay, so that's who I want the task assigned to. All right. We'll say save. Assign the task to that person. All right. So the task is going to get assigned to that user, and you can put a subject line for our task. Please reach out to this lead. They want to speak to a member of our team. Okay, and that's going to be the subject line for our task. These additional things here are optional. The first ones are recommended. All right. Yeah, that's fine. Assigned to this person, that's the subject line. What else can we put in there? We could put a due date. So we want this to be done within 2 days. 2 days. You know what? Sure, 2 days after. You know what? We want it done immediately. 0 days. What else should we assign? Priority, yes. This is high priority. We'll save that. And think, let's keep it simple. Let's keep it just like that. And let's see, status. We want it as open. And when they do call the person, we want them to change it to completed. Okay, so that's the task we're going to assign. We go next. So you see here, it's a guided process. And this is the summary of the task we want to assign. And let's give our task a name. Call lead record ASAP. All right, so that's what the task name is going to be. The object will be the Salesforce task. And what will happen is a new task will be created. And then let's reach out to this lead. I want to speak to them about our team. Okay, so I'm happy with everything here. I'll say done. Any questions before we complete this? Okay, done. And now we've configured the task we want created in the CRM. When any new records come through version 2, they get this email. A task is assigned to the user that we've specified, and then the record exits the journey and life is good. Okay, so we're going to double check our entry settings. That's still good. And we're going to validate, make sure there are no errors, and we will activate thereafter. So you can already imagine a use case for something like this. I will shed more light on that once we've activated. So it gives you this prompt here saying once you activate version 2, any new entrants will go through version 2, not the previous version. This is something we already know, so we will say yes, please proceed. Okay, so a use case for something like this is, let's say people go to a company's website, they fill out a form, and the company is using web to lead. The lead gets captured into the CRM once the person submits that form, and they get sent an email. And once they go through the journey, we create a task and we assign the task to, say, the customer service team or the customer service manager, because this record submitted a form, they were not happy. We sent them a discount email saying, hey, you get $10 off your next purchase. And we create a task with the customer service manager to look into whatever it is this person is unhappy about so that we can fix it and no future people have to go through such an experience. That's a made-up use case. But let's see this actually work. So let's step back. Right now, we have 0 entries in version 2 of our journey. All right? Let's go ahead and we're going to use David again. Oh, by the way, is David even in today? And have you received these emails we've been spamming you with? You can just put it in the chat or you can speak up and let us know. So we're going to look at these records. You received the emails?
Yeah, I received one of them.
Okay, just one.
Yeah, just let me check again. I refresh. Yeah, just one.
All right, check your spam, check your junk, check. Anyways, yeah, just check. So let's say, let's use another record so we can stop picking up David. Let's use now Uduak. I saw Uduak's name today. You know she's in class. Let's use Uduak for this experiment. So Uduak is going to be our next record to use. So Uduak right now, we updated her record. She does not meet the criteria because the email address field is blank. Yes, so she will not get added into the journey yet. Right, so she hasn't met the criteria. She's not going to get added yet. But if we come back to it and we just put that email address there, we save it. Uduak now meets the criteria. So she's going to get added in here. See, there she is. She met our criteria. She's got pulled into the journey and she's going to get added to version 2. So this currently says 0 entries. When we refresh it, we expect to see 1 entry. And that's what we have. Uduak is the sole entrant of version 2 of our journey. All right, so she's going to go through this journey. She'll get this email. When she gets to this point, Marketing Cloud is going to send the instructions that we've configured here into the CRM. A task will be created, and the user that we specified will be assigned that task. All right, so let's see Uduak go through that journey. Still not showing up in here, but she will. She will show up. Let's just refresh. So, she's in there. And there she is. She's been sent this email. Uduak, when you have a moment, please check. and confirm that you received that email. And the task should have been created, and she is in the waiting period now, upon which she will exit. So let's go take a look. Did that task get created? So let's go to the task tab. This is probably going to show task for my record. Let's see. Details. Task. Let's go check again. So we should see where's our task? Ideally, we should see it from the record itself. That, here, not news, not details. So perhaps we're not seeing it in this related list. Okay, I'm going to go to the settings. Perhaps it's the page layout. I'm going to modify the lead record page layout. See if we can add the task related list if it's not there already. Page layout. All right, related list. So is there one for task? No, there isn't. It should be on the activity. We do have the activity. Open activity. So it should be, yeah, it should be on the open. All right, let's go back. There is the activities section. I need to spend more time in this year, right? Because spending too much time in Marketing Cloud. Don't know how to use the CRM anymore. Okay, I think activity. That's what it should be. Refresh. So I do not see my task for some reason. So perhaps I'm not seeing it because it's not assigned to me. So I'm logged in as myself, not the integration user. So folks, the task should be visible from the record. Perhaps it's just taking a bit. Because usually you should be able to see it.
How do we yeah, it should be, but how do we even confirm that the task was created?
Yeah, that's why we should be able to see it here. Because when we validated our journey, there was no issue. So it means this setup, this task setup that we did, or this task configuration that we did here should work. So
okay, and you assigned the task to the integration user, right?
Correct.
You could take the lead ID and put it into the health. Take the lead ID and put it into the health of the journey to see where it goes.
Check the lead ID.
Yeah, grab the lead ID of the
this is the lead ID.
Yeah, so grab that lead ID and in the journey, click on health. Inside the journey, click on the little health icon.
Right.
Yeah, and then put it in the search at the top. And hit enter, and then it should find it, and I click it, and then it'll tell us if there's an issue. So 2 minutes went over Waited. Objects.
Should work.
Sent email.
So these are the activities that happened.
Yeah.
Left to right. That's what this is showing you here. So the person came in, they got the email, then the task was created for the subject in the CRM, and then they waited and exited the journey. So let's just refresh. It's probably just taken a bit longer than it should. So we don't see it here. Let's see if it shows up. It's online different. Ideally, we should be able to see all tasks, regardless of. Okay, for some reason, we do not see it yet. It's not the end of the world. We can try and figure out why it's not showing up, or we can create a new version and create another task. So I don't see it yet. Usually it works, all right? It's not like it doesn't work. Today it's just not being.
In Marketing Cloud, when you checked that thing by the side, like the way we check in front of the interview, you saw the task ID, right?
Let's check again.
I was thinking that we could.
I think it was the lead ID, not.
So this is the lead ID. Then down there, I think this is the task ID. Or is this still the lead ID?
No, that's the task ID. That's it.
Yeah,
00T is the task ID.
Okay, so I'm thinking that we can try to put this in a URL in CRM, but just that we don't have any tasks. So maybe we should create one so that we can get a typical task URL and put this ID here. No, just a crude way of doing it.
If you put it into the URL, it'll bring up that task record.
Yeah, so at least it's like we don't know where it is right now, right? So let's create a new one, and my place they say that something that cannot speak can be wiser than you. So we'll do it.
So let's find our open sample task. Okay, let's see it.
That's weird.
Okay, there it that's the sample. All right, so this one doesn't have any ID, so.
You guys know task is a weird object that is kind of different from the other objects. Unless
they're tied to activities
from an opportunity or
it still has an ID on it. You can still paste the ID and it should come in.
If you can link the task to a lead, maybe, I don't know.
Oh, look, this, just raised my hopes for nothing.
I think you have to go all the way to the / the com, after the com / with it.
Where? Here?
Yeah. There it is.
Oh, look at it.
Oh, it's tied to the integration user. Yeah, that's what you wanted.
Yeah, so another way could have been login as the integration user, but that's weird because the SFMC instructor user is an admin, right? Right. So why shouldn't it be able to see?
Why am I not able to view it? That's what I'm thinking too.
Yeah, that's really weird.
Yeah.
Anyways.
I won't be surprised. This your sandbox is.
Hey, look at that. Group effort, and we figured it out. Woo!
Thank you. Good stuff. So you do see that it works. The issue that we experienced, that was more of a visibility thing inside of the CRM. But when it comes to Marketing Cloud, creating the task it did what it was supposed to do.
And I think the task is not associated with anything in the CRM. It's just floating on its own. It's not
name is blank.
or
Name
anything.
is blank.
Yeah.
So name is blank. Related to is blank.
Yeah, related tab is also.
Oh, yeah. So, okay. I think
why.
Abby didn't fill in all those stuff, right?
Oh, I think so.
That's the way to tie it to back to the activity.
But he still should have been able to click it and see it as an admin. So that's kind of weird.
Okay, so
anyways,
I think I know where it went wrong. In here,
when you were creating the task.
Yeah, there was a field I missed. I was supposed to select the contact or the lead record. That's what would have tied it to the record. So I think I missed this step.
Yeah, so that's
okay. So tomorrow I'll configure a new version. I'll make sure I don't miss that step. We'll create another task, and that task should be associated with the lead record. You should be able to see that task from the lead record, unlike this workaround that we
that's what the related to would have done for us.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. So thank you for your troubleshooting skills and help with this. But the message is Marketing Cloud does work. It does create these things for you. And the learning is make sure you don't miss a step like I did. So you don't have to bang your head against the wall trying to find a task that is not showing up. All right. So that's where we'll leave it for today, except there are questions. Okay, so David, thank you for confirming you got the second email, and Udrak also received the email. Excellent. So Marketing Cloud is behaving itself. Ijema, final question of the day.
Yeah, sorry, this is not related to today's topic. I just wanted to ask, is the Marketing Cloud CRM different from like the CRM you open? Yes. So when you go to the setup here, not there.
Which one?
This button up here. You're right.
So,
yes. Beside where you have that notification.
Yes.
Yeah, the setup. Yeah, the next one. Yeah. Okay, now, is it different from this? So in my org, I see setup and I see marketing setup. Is Marketing Cloud setup different from the setup?
In your org, you see setup and marketing setup.
Yes.
Your org likely has Pardot.
Yes, we do. We have Pardot.
Yeah. So Pardot is a different platform from Marketing Cloud. So that marketing setup that you see beneath this one, that's the setup for Pardot.
Oh, okay.
That's not for Marketing Cloud.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, there's no setup button in this section for Marketing Cloud.
Okay, so Marketing Cloud uses the same setup, right?
Well, Marketing Cloud setup is inside of Marketing Cloud here. What you can see from the CRM when it comes to making changes to the integration, what you can see is this tab here. This one called Marketing Cloud. When you click on this, it takes you to that middle ground. So the middle ground is where the integration is happening between SFMC and SFTC. You can make changes to that setup, that bridge. Remember, that's what we refer to as the bridge. So if you wanted to make changes to that bridge, this is where you go, not here.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah. Thank you.
No problem. Pardot, it's also a marketing automation platform. It was acquired by Salesforce, the company, and it's been integrated into the CRM. So now organizations cannot use Pardot as a standalone tool. They have to purchase the CRM and they can get Pardot on top of it. So Pardot sits like an app, like all these apps here, on top of the CRM. It has its uses and it has its own, it works. There's some similarities to Marketing Cloud, but it's not as robust. Okay? It's not within the scope of today's or this course's content, but just for context for those who don't know. All right. So thank you for your questions, your participation, and we will connect tomorrow.